search of jail was unreasonable. It violated the Fourth Amendment because it was based solely on an anonymous tip. As a result, the weapon that was seized as a result of the search should be excluded, and jail's conviction should be overturned.
I'm sorry, Counselor, you're saying an anonymous tip about a gun is unreasonable?
Absolutely. In Supreme Court cases, going back through Aguilar-Spinelli, Gates, and then J.L. versus Alabama, or J.L. versus White, the Supreme Court has said that anonymous tips are less reliable than other informants, and therefore the information based on them should be subject to a more a higher standard. Also, carrying a gun in the state of Florida by itself is not an illegal activity. The indications in the record show that the person did not have a concealed carry permit. However, that indicates that concealed carry permits are available, and that simply carrying a gun concealed in the state of Florida is not an illegal activity.
Let's talk about the tip that was provided. The tip didn't give any particular information that distinguished this individual from other people on the street.
That's exactly the problem. The tip was from an anonymous informant, from an unknown person in an unknown location. The only information that the tip gave was what the person was wearing. And what prior case law says is that that's just reliability of identification. A tip needs to be anonymous, or a tip needs to provide information that shows, corroborate illegal activity, not just identification.
How do the police know which bus stop to go find these young men?
It's not in the record, but presumably the person who gave the anonymous tip gave the actual location of the bus stop.
So what about the fact that the police showed up to investigate the situation and were able to corroborate that these three young men were in the location where they said they would be, as well as one of them wearing that attire that they described before?
They were able to corroborate that information, but again, that information is just corroborating, identifying information. For example, it's very easy to just say there's a car across the street that has a black car and it has a person wearing a red shirt in it, but that alone is not enough to perform probable cause, much less reasonable suspicion.
Counselor, I want to go back to an earlier point. You mentioned that it is legal to carry a gun in the state of Florida. You skipped over the fact that this person would never be able to carry a gun in the state of Florida until he aged.
That's correct. The anonymous tip just said a young black man. It did not indicate his age. There's no evidence that the police knew that the person was underage or even suspected that he was underage. So it's possible that he could have been a lawful concealed carrier.
But they did say a young black man wearing a plaid shirt that was standing at a specific bus stop by a pawn shop, and that's who they found, and he happened to have a gun.
That's correct.
What more would you have wanted to add to that tip to make you comfortable with it?
Well, there's a couple different things. First, if the person providing the tip had some prior history of being an informant. Here, there's no indication of that. The Supreme Court has said that there's a couple different things you could have. Number one, be able to predict future information of what might happen and actually corroborate illegal activity, whereas the corroboration here was just benign activity.
Counsel, the Fourth Amendment is a review of our cases will show you that it's all about a balancing test between the privacy interests of the individual and the security needs of the state. Here, the police recovered an illegal handgun from a minor, and there's a proliferation of handgun violence. Why does this violate the Fourth Amendment?
Because even though they recovered the weapon, it was based upon information that was illegally obtained. So even then, it is better to let 10 guilty men go free than one innocent man go free.
That's your time, Counselor.
That was